Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started here with respect of everyone that was able to get connected here at the 11 o'clock hour. I just want to thank you for being here today. Many of you are aware, my name is Contrell Armour. I serve as the director at the Afterschool Network here in Pennsylvania, also known as PSAYDN. Today's session is titled Action Day Preparation, Amplifying Our Movement. So this session is designed to prepare you for Afterschool Education and Awareness Day / Action Day on May 6th at the Harrisburg State Capitol. Whether you're attending in person or you're looking to engage locally with your legislator, our goal this morning is to ensure that you feel confident, you feel prepared, and ready to elevate your voice and the voices of the youth that you serve. I'm going to just go over the housekeeping for today's session really quick. We always have you enter on mute, but today we're going to expect you to come off mute a little bit and share. I'm also going to ask you to engage by using the chat, so please get your mouses ready or whatever those things are that you know where those tools are so you can engage with us. We ask for you to turn on your camera if possible, just to build a sense of community. It's always good to see faces and reactions, but your attendance is welcomed any way that you show up. We will have an evaluation link for you to complete at the end of this session so that we know how much this information is necessary and pertinent to our movement. So we look forward to you completing that at the conclusion of our session. So as promised, I kind of got our first prompt and looking for some engagement of how many of you have been at Action Day or Advocacy Day in the past. So either reaction or chat. Yes, I have. Thumbs up. No, I haven't. Anything like that. I'm seeing some thumbs up.
I have twice.
Antonio, twice. What's the chat telling me here? Anything in the chat? I'm seeing a bunch of thumbs up. So everyone here has been? It seems like it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, well, for those that have been and for those that haven't been, both experiences is exactly what we need in this time and in this movement. So today's session objections are as follows. By the end of this session, you'll be prepared for Action Day. You'll strengthen in your message, effectively engage your youth voice, and increase visibility for your program and out-of-school time services across the state here of Pennsylvania. This is about showing up ready with clarity, confidence, and purpose. If I could ask you, using the chat, what is one thing you are looking to walk away with today? You showed up in today's session for what reason? What are you looking for? I want to make sure that we touch on all of those points and interest of the registrants in session today. What did you show up for? Information, okay. Everybody showing up for information. Tips to help us properly prepare our youth for attending. Good, excellent. More knowledge about the initiative, all right. Now, if we were in person, these are the things that I would have asked to be written down on a big kind of post-it note, and then at the end, before we would adjourn, we'd go over that to make sure that we were able to effectively either clarify, answer, or circle back around to what you were here for today. Before we move to the next slide, I just want to ground us in the reality of why this work matters. So across Pennsylvania, 1 in 4 children are currently participating in out-of-school time programs, but 4 out of 5 who would benefit still don't have access. So the gap in access to out-of-school time here in Pennsylvania is what is driving this work. These programs, we're talking about these programs, out-of-school time opportunities, exist in both schools, community centers, libraries, and faith-based organizations. And importantly, they bridge not only education and opportunity by supporting academics, workforce readiness, and youth development, they also provide our young people with a safe space and opportunity to engage with their innovative ideas. This is the story that we must consistently tell. Why Action Day matters. So Action Day is more than just a visit to the Capitol. So for those that have been to the Capitol, it is a beautiful building. It looks different even from last year with some of the remodeling and remake inside. So although that's a beautiful, artistic, historical building, it is a day that we are showing up to support the out-of-school time. So as a statewide effort to elevate the importance of out-of-school time programs, this is why we convene at the Capitol. It allows us to build relationships with the policymakers, advocate for funding, and highlight the impact that the programs are having across the state and specifically in your communities and neighborhood, which is directly related to your local legislator. But most importantly, should I say, it centers youth voice. So back to Antonio's in the chat, when he was looking to take away is how to prepare our youth. This is the way that we prepare our youth for the future and leadership opportunities and their advocacy engagement as young people. So I have another prompt here. Get a little bit of feedback of what do you think is most powerful? Do you think it is your voice or do you think it is data? What do you think is most powerful in telling a story? Is it data or is it your voice?
I think it's both.
Did someone say both? Okay, both. I think it's both. Everybody got both. Well, I didn't know I posted this publicly, this presentation. No, you're all exactly right. It is both. And that is what creates the impact. The data and our voice. So we're going to revisit that data and what it looks like in a couple more slides down here as we talk about how to prepare for that visit. But I want you to think about your local impact. Behind every number is a young person who either has access or is still waiting for the opportunity. This is why your voice matters and why we must show up prepared. I want you to think about, I'm going to pause for 30 seconds. I want you to think about who represents your program's impact. One student. Think of one student that represents your program's impact. Think of that one student. Now that student, that's the story you want to bring into the room during Advocacy Day. That story of that student and how that impact that individual is the story you want to bring in to your meeting with your legislator. So we are in a critical point right now, or a critical moment here in after school, not just in Pennsylvania, but across the country. I think 2 weeks ago, the federal budget for fiscal year 2027, the skinny budget, was released, and there's some real concerns about funding for programs that support our youth. So why does this matter when at the federal level, when we're advocating at the state level? Is because when we're advocating at the state level, especially when it comes to the funds that we need, we can't show up with the legislator with just a number that we pull out of the air. It's always good to have some type of formula in the number that we're proposing. And when we have federal dollars coming from the federal government to the state, like 21st Century, that supports out of school time, we can use that number as somewhat of a baseline or somewhat a part of the formula of why we need more. So all to say, right now here in Pennsylvania, I think we're around 55 or 58 million from the federal government coming down through 21st Century. We're at 11.5, 12.5 million at the state. We know we need more at the state. That federal allocation helps us with that conversation. So I hope y'all kind of followed me with that and why it is critical that we support the continuation of the federal 21st century program supporting out-of-school time learning. Rachel, if I could have you drop in the chat right now the federal budget concerns link. And if everyone took just a second here to click on that link. So this is part of today's engagement, and our engagement more than just for Action Day is if you take a minute to click on that link, you will see that I think it takes you to the Afterschool Alliance website. You'll see the summary of the 27 budget that's proposed and where our youth programs are going to be impacted. To the right of that, you'll see pretty much a scripted email waiting for you to put your email in there, your information, and hit submit. For this particular advocacy effort at the federal level, that's where we want to be right now. Last month at the NNA in DC, we had the opportunity to meet with some U.S. congressmen and women to talk about federal funding for Pennsylvania. But right now in your seat here in Pennsylvania, knowing what's on the horizon, here is our call for you to be engaged in supporting that federal funding. So whether you click on that link now, like I suggested, or you come back, this is the opportunity for you to advocate, educate, bring awareness to the out-of-school time space. All right, so let's get into the day, our campaign theme, right? So our messaging aligns with PSAYDN's campaign. And this education and awareness campaign that I mentioned before we started here this morning that kicked off in August was all designed in preparation for our visit at the Capitol on May 6th. So our education and awareness, for those that don't know, is our new terminology for advocacy. I won't get into a long story about it, but we need to be innovative and move with the times and communicate where we're not going to be pushed aside by certain language that we use in regards to advocacy. So educating and bringing awareness to the out-of-school time space is our language that we use here at the Network for Advocacy. In the title, Education Awareness, investing in youth and strengthening our workforce. So this framing is important because, one, we are asking for the legislators to invest into the Boost program to give us more dollars to allocate. And one of the finer points in after school and with the current administration is strengthening Pennsylvania's workforce development sector. So strengthening our workforce is what we want to try to tie to out-of-school time and why it is going to help support Pennsylvania in a larger umbrella. We're connecting our work to workforce development, economic growth, and community success. So I want you to think about those three things in your storytelling about your program. Does your program support workforce development or economic growth? Does it have an impact on community success? Is it specifically tied to academics? Is it specifically tied to evidence-based and other enrichment activities? This is what resonates with policymakers. So what is Action Day? Action Day is a coordinated effort where we have our youth, our OST providers, and partners gather at the Harrisburg State Capitol. It includes legislative meetings, youth storytelling, and increased visibility for our space across the Commonwealth. It's structured, intentional, and designed to have impact. So my next little prompt for those that are on here this morning is, what part of Action Day are you most excited or nervous about? Excited or nervous? You can unmute or you can use the chat, but I do need a little bit of feedback. What are you looking for?
Well, I've always found it as one great time for the students to advocate for, or educate our legislators about our programs. So that's a wonderful time for them to get out with their families when they came out last year to tell us stories for us. Um, we always are advocating for our own programs funding. That's one time where the students get their voices to be heard. And I love it all every time.
Thank you, Antonio. How about something that would make someone nervous that's on the call here? Anything that gets you a little nervous on this day?
Hi, good morning. This is Melvina.
Hey,
So little
Melvina.
what the gentleman said, I'm excited about the students being able to speak their own truth and be there. The experience is awesome. And so I'm nervous always about the transportation, the traffic there. We try to leave at 6 o'clock and then get there late anyway. So just really nervous about the train commute all the time. But nevertheless, it ends up being a great day. So thank you for continuously providing this opportunity for our students and staff.
Yeah, thank you, Melvina. And I didn't think about the transportation and the logistics part being a nervous, but you're exactly right. You know, if it can happen, it will happen on that day type of mindset. But it is a beautiful day when we get there, echoing you and Antonio's statements there. No one's nervous. No nervousness. Nobody feels nervous. I'm nervous. I've been there, handful of times, and I'm always nervous when I walk in there, just because nervous is kind of a good feeling, if you ask me. It's not necessarily a scared thing, but anyway. So we're going to talk about your role on that day at Advocacy, and that each of you played a critical role. You're representing your program, you're representing your community, and the youth that you serve. So we're going to ask you to come prepared. We're going to ask you to be clear in your messaging, and then bring that confidence that you all have and when you show up every day in front of your students. You are the expert in this space during that time. And I really want you to believe when I tell you it's not that legislators don't want to support what we have in the OST community. Many times they're not aware of what is happening in the OST community. So I have seen a shift with the generations coming into the legislature that either have been part of after school or have their children in some type of daycare or after school programs. So they start to get it now because they're experiencing it. So I just wanted to put it out there as far as that you're the expert in that space. You have to tell your story as if they know nothing about after school or the jump rope and kickball that maybe that they were all doing in the 80s or 90s for after school. So our data that we have is going to, as we kind of prompted earlier in this presentation, help our voice have that impact. Our key message areas for our advocacy day or our action day, as you prepare your message, I want you to focus on 4 key areas. That's the program impact. We talked about that several slides. Workforce development, it's in our title. The student success, that's hopefully coming from the students themselves and why the out of school time program is impacting them. And the community benefit. So again, when we host this day, not only do we have the programs and the program providers as far as the students, we always look for that community champion. And I hope you're doing the same in your community, looking for that champion. That champion can help tell that story about the benefit in the community as well as you can and do working with the youth every day. These ensure that consistency is across the state and strengthen our collective voice. Now, going to drop in the chat, Rachel, please, the PSAYDN website resources for Action Day. Kelly, you can go to the next slide. Or actually, stay there, Kelly. Sorry. I'm sorry. Stay there, Kelly. Thank you. Okay. Let me get back to the main screen on the chat. Okay. In the chat, Rachel dropped the website Resources for Action Day. So that link will take you right to the PSAYDN website under our professional development, or under our resources tab. And then under the resources tab, we have our education and awareness efforts. You'll see several links to printable documents and resources that include both the 21st Century Overview in the state, which was just released a few months ago, the Afterschool Alliance connections, the Joint State Government Commission's Return on Investment Report. Now, particularly with that resource, I don't expect you to read 122 or 166 pages by the time we on Advocacy Day and be able to roll that out. Just understand that that is what led us to get the allocated dollars right now for boost funding. So just familiarizing yourself a little bit with the formulas in there that talks about why the $1 invested saves us $4 in the particular areas of teenage pregnancy and high school dropout. Just begin to mark that up a little bit and look at that return on investment, because that's going to give you your funding or your fiscal kind of conversation with your legislator when you get to that part. But that is available on that link. You also see the after 3 p.m. data sheets, as well as the PSAYDN fact sheet, which includes workforce development. Please use this resource. We put them on there in the printable mode again so that you can print them out. Many of these will be included in the packets that we will leave behind for our legislators on that date. But before you see them for the first time in the packet, familiarize yourself with the website on that information that we have. You'll also find talking points when you in the feed loop or the registration app that you have downloaded and are waiting for your legislative visits to appear. You'll see talking points in there as well. We went over a couple other talking points where I really want you to focus on that workforce development. But don't try to play workforce development if you're drilling down on STEM and social emotional learning. That's your wagon, that's your story, that's what we want you to go into that room as the expert. But overall, how after school is helping our economic growth in the state will be important moving forward with our messaging. So for preparing for your legislative visit, we asked you to register for this specific event. So we're reaching out to your legislator. We're coordinating and confirming visits. But more than today, how do you do that beyond today? This slide here and some of the information I'm going to share will help you begin and practice and get yourself ready and scheduled to meet with the legislator to tell them that great story that you have. So Rachel's going to drop a series of links right now in the chat. The first one is just to find your legislator. That's going to take you to the home page. The two links underneath are on that home page that you land on, because you can go specifically to the senators and you can go specifically to the House of Representatives. And just as posted on this slide, you'll see the picture of that legislator. You'll see a couple icons underneath of the social media or even email to reach directly out to them, and some story, right? So once you have this kind of profile in front of you, it gives you an opportunity to do a little, I better not say no stalking, that's not the right word to use. Little research on your legislator to find out what committees that they're on, where their strengths are, what they support. Sometimes they'll talk about their family pets, they'll talk about their family. Those are like little pieces that will remove some of the nervousness once you walk into that room, or getting your message ready where you can maybe align something with that legislator has available for you to read and find out. So I really encourage you to use that link beyond this event, because we got that covered for you this time. but use that to get and familiarize yourself with your local legislator. I have noted on here about bringing data and stories. You bring the stories, we got the data for you in the folder. I'm sure every story of impact, we have data to support that in that folder. Our meeting structure, or your meeting structure. So we ask when you enter the legislative office, you kind of get right down to it in the conversation. We are asking from anywhere from a 15 to 30 minute time slot for you. It does go really fast, especially because you're so passionate about your work. The time is going to fly. It's going to be really important that we kind of keep this structure so we or you don't get distracted by the baseball game that was on last night or the big bang that happened 20 minutes ago. So it's going to be really important that you go in there with this structure and try to pull your legislator back into this kind of format if they begin to go off and tell the stories about their favorite recipe Saturday morning. So introductions of all who is there. Now, we will be providing the legislator with the name of the visitor, which is the registrant here, but we want you to use the etiquette and the mannerism of introducing yourself and allowing the students to introduce themselves as well. We'd also tell you to jump right in and have the youth begin the conversation and talk about why after school matters or is important to them, or what impact it's having in their life. If the meeting has to get cut short or time is ran out, having the youth not tell their story is not where we want to be. So please put them up front, have them tell the story, and in their story, you can highlight the program impact that it's had on that young person. It could lead to the funding discussion of, we have a waiting list, we got 17 other Kevins that are just waiting to get in our programs, and we don't have the room. Lisa wants to bring 5 other of her peers from the middle school, but we don't have room. So, that could be part of that funding discussion versus we want 70 million, we want 50 million. Talk about what impact that money would have on your program in framing your conversation. And then the thank you and they ask. Matter of fact, I forgot to put that on there, the ASK. I've talked to a lot of legislators, and you've heard from some of them during this campaign, where they welcome people to come in, meet and talk and everything, and they tell a compelling story and they walk out. And there was no ask. So make sure you're leading with an ask with the legislator that you're meeting with, that you're asking them to support, to vote for, and increase the funding to boost here in Pennsylvania. Introductions, let the youth get theirs, program impact, funding discussion, the ask and thank you. And I'm doubling down, circling back around. It was mentioned at the beginning, this is an opportunity to engage our youth, right? So in the many, many years working with young people, always keeping at the forefront when we talk about find your voice, you're a leader. If we don't give them the opportunity to do that, we almost kind of set them up for a little bit of disappointment. So we have to practice what we're preaching to our young people about them being leaders, about them leading the generation, about them taking. This is an opportunity for them to do that. So we want to center our discussions around youth voice. This helps them practice storytelling. This helps them practice that leadership. This helps them practice and engage with the civic engagement that you may be talking about. And most importantly, is building the young people's confidence. We want to support authentic sharing. I have that noted here while I talked about several different prompts. On the way to the event or 3 weeks out is not the time to switch up the story. So we want it to be authentic. We want the young people to tell how it's really having an impact on them. And if it comes in that academic, community safety, enrichment, workforce area, we're meeting our mark. And that's where we want to be. So encourage your young people to practice their storytelling. And as you listen to that and give them that positive feedback, just assuring them that it's authentic and it's what they want to say is going to be important. So here's our storytelling tips. To being specific, so again, using our website with the resources available to pull those numbers or statistics. Personal, so how is impacting the young people. Connected to outcomes. And we say keep it short. I think 15 to 20 minute meeting is already short, so just being mindful of that boundary that we don't have forever for all 5 kids that we have in here with us to tell 10 minutes of their story. But we want all 5 of those kids to have something to say in that time that they're there. So I said we were going to revisit our data, which helps tell the story of the impact. This after school in Pennsylvania after 3 p.m. that you see on this slide is part of the resources on the website. We will have this resource in the packet for delivery this year, and this report is only done every 5 years. This year, the after 3 p.m. took a deeper dive into the Allegheny County area on needs for out-of-school time. That's a separate fact sheet, but it will be included in this or in that packet. So thinking about the structure of our storytelling in 1 and 4 in Pennsylvania, that gives you the time to add what is happening in Allegheny if you're from Allegheny. So please just be aware that that fact sheet is inside of the packet to be left behind, and any other data and one-pagers that we have on our website. We encourage you to review them on the bus ride too, right? So from now until then, look at those data sheets, look at those data points, and see that how that can help support your story. So this is before you arrive on May 6th. We will have confirmed your meetings. We will have all of the materials prepared for you when it comes to name badges for yourselves that are registered and for any youth that you identified in bringing. We ask you to coordinate that team or how you're going to move at the Capitol once you get there with the youth or yourselves. And then always encourage you to practice the messaging, practicing the messaging. Our webinars for this campaign from August are all recorded on our website. If you want to go back to the youth entrepreneurship one, you want to go back to workforce development one, you want to go back to youth voice, visit those sessions and see if there's anything there that can help support telling your story and preparing you for Action Day. All right, during Action Day, we're asking you to be professional. That's the message that we also are asking you to pass to your young people. I've told this story a couple of times, and I feel, I guess since I said it like this, I live in the Harrisburg area, and after school in 5th grade, the Capitol is where we played around at. There's a lot of stairs, which gives us a lot of railings to slide down, long hallways. Back in the late mid-'80s, breakdancing was real hot, so they had the shiny floors. We could really get our backspins and windmills on. Y'all get the point. I visited the Capitol other than visiting the legislature, right? So that's not the activity we want our young people to be prepared and coming into that space. And it is just there. Nobody gave me a list and said, look at all the stuff you can do. When I got there at 12, or 10, I'm like, man, yeah, this is the place so I can see how fast, or, I got new sneakers on, how all that goes. But anyway, just keep a professional demeanor while you're there. Sometimes it can get a little bit pressing to do that because whether it's busy with other groups and or you need to move a little bit quicker out of a room or into a room, you're there being professional and using all of that etiquette and mannerisms. So just can't say that enough about just being professional. Staying on message, I talked about that. Engaging respectfully. What does that mean? Engaging respectfully. That could mean a lot. What I would add to that right now would be the high political kind of landscape that's out there, how everything's kind of polarized. In this space, when we show up, we're neutral. When I say neutral, we're not blue or red, Democrat, Republican. We are there for the young people, and they haven't made up their mind on which political corner they want to stand in or represent. So for us to show up, know that we are there representing the young people. Take notes. I kind of have this to share with you as well. When you're telling your story to the legislator or the staffer, and many times it could be the staffer, and they are just as important. If they have a pad and a pen, and they're writing stuff down when you're talking, you're making an impact. I just want you to think about that. If they have a pad and a pen and you're talking and they write nothing down, you got to switch it up. You got to bring back to some facts. You got to get real with some other stories, because it might be going in one ear and out the other. That's the experience that I'm having in these legislative visits. So we're going to ask you to do the same thing. Take a little notepad in there with a pen. When they respond or say something, and I'm not trying to say not be real, but record it, write it down. There's something that they'll share with you that you can write down, even if you already knew it, that you can write down to show that you are listening, because that is what I'm keying you all into when you're having your conversation. If their pen doesn't move, we want their pens to move when you're talking. We want them to start taking some notes. Request a photo. Kelly, can I have you in the chat right now drop our hashtag for advocacy, Advocate Action Day, PA, in the chat? So this is going to be important as well. I would say for the net, it's important for you to share within your program when you get back, and to share with the students. But this is going to be important for you to share with the network as well. We have several different events throughout the year, and for us to be able to, put together a slideshow with pictures or even some video, that begins to tell our story year round. So I really want us to be mindful to request a photo, and when that photo is taken, hashtag it. Hashtag right here in the chat. You can tag PSAYDN. You can tag the Center for Schools and Communities, and you can also, and I trust me, I do not mind, because I know the times that we in. You can text it directly to that number. So when you take the photo, hopefully you ain't doing too much editing and backdrops and cropping and all that. Just take the photo. You can send it to the 882 number. We'll make sure that that photo gets archived and used as we move throughout the year, like I said, in different events and other opportunities that we have to share the story. Wrapping things up here before we take any questions. After Action Day. So this preparation is very important. The day of is important, but it's also fun. Can't move that out of the way. We want to have fun when we're there. But also following up is just as important as showing up, is following up. So we're going to look at here from our seat as the network as sending thank you notes to the legislator. But this is your opportunity, whether it's your first time at the Capitol, to continue that conversation with your legislator back home. So thank you for your time at the Capitol in Harrisburg. Looking forward to seeing you on, such and such date at your district office on Penn Avenue, right? So starting to talk and using that thank you with some of the language that is connected to the community that they serve as you are a constituent. That is going to begin to get their attention a little bit even more than just on this day. Every legislative house rep and center has a local district and where they're serving. Sometimes it's not that real big building that looks real fancy. It's in between the laundromat and the convenience store. But that is the spot that you can get to in your community to continue this conversation. So I really encourage the follow through and the thank you after you visit with your legislator. Question slide. So let's stop the share so I can get the grid back up. Perfect. All right. Looks like the chat was a little busy over here. If there's any questions in the chat that you posed that we did not answer, I would ask you to please either repost it at this point or just unmute your microphone and ask the question. But this is the time to ask any questions on the information shared or questions that you came into this session that haven't been answered. There's no way I did that great of a job, y'all, if I had some questions. No questions.
Control, I don't have a question, but did you want to share the Lights On After School information?
Yes.
I just wanted to make sure you wanted to still do that.
Thank you. Yes, thank you, Rachel. So beyond, I spoke of this a few times here, beyond our one day, our action day at the Capitol, there are other opportunities for us to engage in support of educating and bringing awareness to this space. One of those events, and it's nationwide, is the Lights On After School. So what Rachel just dropped in the chat right now will take you to both the information about Lights On After School this year. I believe it's October 22nd, and also an opportunity for the young people to be involved in that Lights On, not just on that day, but beforehand. And that would be the Lights On poster contest. So just read a paragraph or two about how they move about that contest. And I got I got 4 cameras, 4 people with their cameras on, but many more in the room. If I can get these 4 people to commit to having their program, their young people in their program, bring this information to the young people in their program and allow them to participate, that's where we kind of want to be. Can I get a commitment? Can I get a thumbs up for anyone that's going to bring the Lights On poster contest to their program? Thank you, Janelle. Thank you, Melvina, Antonio, Miss Jones. Thank you very much. Yes. Okay, here it goes. Yes. So take that to your program. The kids love, number one, competition, and all of them love art in some way. This is what that's about. So a healthy competition, so to speak. But there's a gift certificate or an incentive to maybe like $500, establishing that would be for the program use in the pizza party, not necessarily for that young person to go to the Amazon online and spend that whole $500. But this, again, just talking about the other opportunities throughout the year to engage. Let's see if we can get somebody from Pennsylvania to represent the Lights On After School poster. That would be go old school. That'd be super fly for Pennsylvania. Let's see if we can get that on our checklist. All right.
Montreal, I had a question.
Sure.
So if someone's in a meeting with the legislator and the legislator asks a question that they don't know the answer to, what should they do?
That's a great question, Kelly. And if you don't know the answer, it is okay to say that you don't know the answer. Now, Contrail, you told me a couple slides ago that I was the expert. Ain't the expert supposed to know? If you wrong, they'll know that. Let me tell you that. So if they ask something, be like, yeah, we got, 700 kids standing outside. They're going to ride by and want to see 700 kids standing outside or whatever. So if you don't know, whatever question that they ask you don't know the answer, you can say that. And that is a great way to follow up in following up on the question that you posed about the number of students that show up that we have to turn away, ... So great question, Kelly, and good point for everyone in here. If you don't know, that's okay, because it gives you that leverage to come back around and say, hey, I was able to find out. Let's finish talking about it. All right, great. Karen's been promoting the contest through the APOS network. Excellent. And now is the time, I'm talking about the poster contest, but now is the time to start planning for that October event. Now, with that being said, I totally know it's ahead of you, right? Which is the end of the school year. and through summer. But then when that August hits, it starts to move really fast, especially when the kids is starting, especially if you're trying to start your program up by October 1st or October 10th. So what do I mean? Think about some ideas right now for your Lights On event. For those that aren't familiar with Lights On, that is a day that you invite the legislator to come to your program to actually witness everything that you talked about in Advocacy Day back on May 6th. So again, part of that follow-up is, let me grab one of them here. Senator Kim, thank you for your time back on May 6th. We are hosting a culminating event or a parent night at our after-school program on August 22nd. If you could come out, observe, whatever you want them to do, give a couple of remarks. They want to get out because it's a PR for them, right? But they also want to get out if they're believing the impact that you're telling them is happening in that space. So that's what Lights On is about. We hosted a Lights On event at the Capitol back in 2024 without inviting the programs because we were just more celebrating that day and also celebrating 20 years of the network's existence. When I talked to several funders and some other people with ideas for Lights On, like us bringing a whole bunch of programs to the Capitol wasn't ideal on that date. Lights On is about getting them out into the local, into their communities, into where the programs are happening. So just to differentiate the importance of coming to the Capitol and saying, hey, on this stage, but then going to that, the legislator coming to your program, coming down the street, finding it hard to park, wanting to get there before it's dark, right? Then they start to feel all the stuff that's happening in that community and why your programs are important. So getting them out on Lights On is your task for Lights On After School. So when we talk about that invitation, I would say send that probably August or right when you're about to kick school off or you know you have your after school program starting, send that invitation out to your legislator and invite them to come see what's happening. Rachel, why don't you drop the link for evaluation? And any questions? All right, we're going to wrap up here with the link for the evaluation. As always, tell us how we can improve the sessions for you. I didn't dive deep into like the every hour and step that we'll have at Action Day this year, but we will be doing that next week in the trainings on the 21st and the 23rd. But what I will say here to this group, what is different than what we have planned years have passed is that we're going to be on the front steps under the checkbox rally. So in past, we chalked everything up as a press conference. They gave us 1 hour to talk. We reserved the front steps from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. with the press conference happening at 11. So if you don't have any legislative visits before the 11 o'clock press conference on the steps, you can come out on the steps. We don't want you to hang around in the building with the kids. Now, there are some opportunities with the gift shop and the tourism, so make it constructive to be inside the Capitol. Otherwise, join us on those steps outside as early as 10 o'clock with the 11 o'clock press conference. When we adjourn from the press conference, lunch up until 2:45. And there actually may be some visits that are scheduled after the lunch break in reference to 12:30 or 1 o'clock. We'll make sure we communicate that with everyone that is registered as we confirm the visit. I can tell you I have 2 senators that are asking if a 2:30 time slot is okay because it's really busy. I'm accepting it right now because that's all that they have, but I will be following up with that particular registrant to say, hey, they can't get you in there till like 2 o'clock or 2:30, so you know your mantra, your march on how you're going to move that day once you arrive at the Capitol. So 9 o'clock we start. That means you're getting there at 8. As early as 10 o'clock, join us on the front steps of the Capitol. 11 o'clock, the cameras come on. Why is this important? We have several senators, House representatives that's going to give and talk. Then we're going to adjourn for the lunch, and then you're off for the rest of your day. Okay, I'm going to thank you, Anna K. Okay, Anna K. We're going there. All right. Okay. Can't think of anything else to share right now in preparation for the May 6th event and you preparing to invite your legislator to your program following the May 6th event. Wishing y'all all safe travels. I know whether you're coming from Philly or Pittsburgh or me 10 minutes away, can never prepare for the traffic, but arriving earlier is always better than later. And with that, I wish you a great rest of your day, rest of your week, and I'm looking forward to seeing you on May 6th here in Harrisburg. Thank you, Antonio.
Thank you, Contrail.
Yeah, thank you.
Got it. Thank you, Miss Jones. Thank you, Janelle. Thank you, Tracy, Marquise, and Amy. Thank you, Tequila. Oh, man, I called her Tequila. No, I didn't. Oh, man.
You got it right, Contrail. Thank you very much.
All right.
It's
All right,
tequila.
Sonia.
Have a good one.
Thank you for joining us. Diane, looking forward to seeing you here in Harrisburg